my name is Nathan, and today we're going to do a comic book review of Army of Darkness 1979, brought to you by RatedComics. Let's get to it. In this issue, we start off with the South Bronx of New York, 1979. We get a narration of we were at war for the streets of New York. The cops were the only thing standing in our way, but that is about to change. Every borough had its crew, and each had its distinctive own ways. I know this says it's 1979, but to me, they look like 80s rock, 80s vibe. That's what it feels like to me. And then you got everyone is coming together, and the idea was if we're gonna do this, it's better to do it together instead of doing it separately. That way, the fuzz could not stop us. And then we see Phibia's girlfriend talking to him like, how do we know this isn't a setup? And Phibia tells Lilith, his girlfriend, stop worrying about it. The word got straight from Ace himself. So now we see Ace on top of a building. Brothers and sisters, you know me, Ace, the leader of the Dominoes. And we're here to take over the streets of New York. Can you dig it? The crowd goes crazy until they are interrupted. Now, there are no objections. I'm gonna run down the plan. We have an objection. And they're like, Domino was like, okay, and who are you exactly? We are the Warlocks, and this brother is holding I can't think of the name of that book, but I know that book is from the Evil Dead movie, the Necronomicon or something like that. And if you guys butcher me in the comment section, I apologize, but I know that book. It's been a while since I watched the Evil Dead or Army of Darkness or whatnot. Now the Warlocks are holding this book, and we all know this book is bad news. And what they do is he uses this book to turn him into like this meat soup without the crock pit, evil style, you know what I mean? And everyone goes bananas, and they're like, oh, and the Warlocks are like, guess what? Now the streets of New York will be mine because they got this book and the power to do so. Back in Washington, 2021, we see Ash getting interviewed for a lumber job, and he's answering his questions very truthfully. You know, the brother's asking him, what'd you do before? Well, I'm a freelancer, like Postmates, Uber, talk to me. No, like with demons. Well, I guess it's not easy, but you got tools like the saw still in his hand, the shotgun is nearby, and the guy's looking at him like, well, I guess, and good news is, you won't be forgetting your equipment at home. So he sees what Ash is working with, cuts off a tree, and hires him for the job. And Ash is just happy to finally get a real job, settle down, and have some kind of normalcy here. Maybe have some kids in the cable TV. Ash sees something's up, and this magical portal opens, and he knows what it is. Not again. And he tells his boss, Mr. Richardson, I'm gonna need a few days off. And he goes into the portal. Now, back in the streets of New York, we see the Warlocks. And that's kind of a funny moment where his sidekick's like, okay, why do we always walk in the middle of the street? I mean, there is a sidewalk, you know? In order to run the streets, you have to look the part. Now, their authority gets tested, and and the cops on the horse like, haven't you punctured over the sidewalk before? And Warlock is like, hey, you know what? You will bow down to me. And you know, you don't test cops like that. Look at that look. You can tell by that look. You're like, oh, we gonna show you. So he gets off the horse, and it's like, look, guys, I think it's time you learn to respect authority. And the Warlock's like, I think it's time you learn to respect your new ruler, and turns him into meat crock pit soup that is just bloody. So now Phibia and Lilith and the gang, they look half dead, but they're just having this argument like, who are these people? How are we gonna take them down? What are they all about? And where are they from? We are from the streets of New York, and they can't be from here because we would have heard of them by now. So meanwhile, we see this portal opens up, and it's our boy Ash coming down, falling down. He's like, oh man, and he remembers or just knows where he's at. I know that smell. I'm in the Bronx, and from the looks of it, it's the 70s. And these half-dead people are like, stay still, man. They're thinking, because they saw magical powers from the Warlocks by the power of this book, but they didn't know it was through the power of that book, or the book was the power source. They think Ash has something to do with this, so they take him in, and they confiscate, and they interrogate him, put him in shelter, put him in the vacancy, and Ash is getting all, he has his, his comebacks and his quick wit and lips. And it's just like, okay, well, you're going to take me to the vacancy? Cool. And then when he gets here, he's like, well, when I was thinking, when you guys had a place to stay, I had something else in mind. I didn't look at this torture and all this kind of stuff. And Lilith is like, you know, this guy, I'm starting to think this guy is not the brightest bulb in the box, but it's kind of cute, though. My boy Ash. So they question him. Where are the Warlocks hiding? Tell me, or something about cutting you open with your own chainsaw. Ash is like, okay, that's kind of, that's kind of weird. That's kind of odd. And look, I get it, but I'm not with them. You guys gotta let me go. You don't understand. It's the power of this book, and they just don't seem to get it. But meanwhile, the Deadites come in, and it's an all-out attack. And I gotta leave a little meat on the bone, because this book picks up fast, picks up the pace great, very entertaining. It's just, you get hit a little bit with an intro, and just, I absolutely love the pace in this book. And all I gotta say, it's an interesting way to end this book, and I gotta say, it's a funny way of how this book ends it with police officers, and an interesting way of Miranda rights. With that being said, I thought this book was a perfect 10, and definitely worth it to add to your comic book collection, whether it be for great storytelling. Even though it's been a while since I've seen Evil Dead and Army of Darkness, it does bring back a little bit of nostalgia for me. With that being said, Army of Darkness 1979. What you guys think of the comic book? Comment below, let me know. If you want to get a copy of your comic book, go ahead and get your copy from RatedComics.com, link in description. If you like the content we're throwing up, here at Rated Comics, we do awesome comic book reviews, comic book related content with the occasional comic book giveaway, which I got to do a video on that later today, so stand by on that. You know what to do. Thanks again for watching. Until next time.